All right. Hey guys, it's Cedar here for New Traders Bootcamp. I'm definitely having some tech issues with OBS. I can't tell that it's actually streaming to my channel live, which I was having trouble with last week. Thought I had it. So if you're here and watching the stream, you'll get to see it live. And if not, it'll be recorded and posted on the YouTube channel. So interesting. There was an update, and apparently some integration has failed. So jumping right in. So the first thing I want to do, this was actually scheduled for next weekend, but once I realized that C Blast was kicking off his challenge, I thought it was kind of more appropriate to go ahead and just go into kind of the ins and outs and the discussion about how the funded programs work differently than a real account. And there's pros and cons. And so I want to kind of dig into the nuances of those. And I have a total of 9 funded accounts right now between different companies. And there's benefits to all of them, but I don't like those are the only 3 I have experience with. And so if you guys have questions about things, I'll definitely answer to the best of what my experience is as far as, what's my favorite and that kind of thing. I do have a couple DM questions. I'm going to wait to do that until I actually do the majority of the presentation, and then hopefully that covers what those DMs are. However, because this is really different, it's not a technical analysis, it's not psychology, which is, I fit all of those in usually. There's a lot of unknown if you haven't been already doing it and literally like in the trenches. And so it's, as you are listening, jot down some notes, give me an idea of things that you are unclear on, and I'm happy to help answer hopefully whatever that is. Okay, let's see what I have open here. So um, I have the 3 different companies that I have my accounts with up here, that I'm going to kind of go through some of the differences between them. But to back up just a little bit, when we're talking about trading for a prop firm or a funded account, that means you're trading OPM, which is other people's money. What that really means is that they're in charge of being your risk manager, and they really are looking to find talented traders who are good at risk management. They are really good at marketing and finding traders who are not good at risk management, which is the majority of traders, as we discuss all the time, as far as blowing up accounts and not oversizing and all of that fun stuff. So, double-edged sword with a funded account, because they don't fund you until you prove that they should trust you with your money. So, multiple steps go. What we don't want to do is be talking about having, getting everyone funded, because we can't get you funded. You have to get you funded by following good risk management and what the individual rules are on the particular prop firm. They make money on you, coming in and purchasing. So I'm on Elite, and Elite was a brand new company last year. Got funded, I think it was the end of May, on 4 accounts. And they have a live trailing drawdown. They're my least favorite, because they're most expensive right now. They were not expensive. I think it was like 90% off when I first started, and I have 4 250K accounts. Totally good. I probably would not do it now, but it's one step. So I'm going to go through kind of what that means. So we've got my first one. Actually, I'm going to start with Top Step, because my first one was a Top Step 150,000. Now, this number looks amazing, $150,000. I'm going to get money, and I'll have money to trade. The answer is you're not trading a $150,000 account, period. That is great marketing. It's a phenomenal business concept, because they're representing that you're trading 150,000. You are not. You're trading the margin of what 150,000 would be, which is more like slightly shy of 10 grand, or we could round up and say it's 10 grand, as long as you manage your risk well. So I don't want you to be thinking, if I get, $550,000 accounts, I'm trading the equivalent of that. If you were in a non-discounted trading broker, Tradovate is a discount broker, it would look different, but it is not like a regular futures account. So the very first thing you have to do is not look at this dollar amount that's right here. I'll go into Apex. It's really good marketing, 25K, 50K, 75K, 100K. And I think that is what Sea Blast is doing. I have two of these, no, four of these. I just passed my second two this week on the 150K full. What really matters is your trailing drawdown. So if we go through, they're going to allow you to trade on a 100K contract that we're going to be launching the challenge for on Monday with Apex, 14 contracts or 140 micros. That means a lot of money. 14 contracts is a lot. You should never, ever, ever trade this amount that they allow ever, or you're going to blow up the account and pay a bunch of reset fees. So the first thing you have to do is, from a control perspective, delete this from your mind. So the profit goal is $6,000. You can take however long you need to make $6,000. There is a $3,000 trailing threshold. And so on that account, let's say we're starting at 100, you make it to 1,000 or 100,000, 2,500. So you've got $2,500 in profit, and then you have a rough day and you start oversizing, and instead of trading the well, I'll go into numbers on what I think should probably be happening for good risk management as far as the accounts go. But let's say you make $2,500 in profit, and then you have a bad day and you lose $2,000 the next day. If you drop down $2,000 and you were up $2,500, you now have $500 left of this trailing threshold to not have your account blown. And you'll see people talk about blowing an account. If you blow your personal account that is money funded, like your cash, let's say you put 50 grand in a futures account. Your goal is to not lose $50,000 would be my hope with a futures trading account. But there's not anybody that's a risk manager telling you now that you're down $5,000 on that 50 grand, you're done trading for this week. You could just keep trading it until it's at zero. And a lot of people do that. The premise of the prop firms is that they're wanting for you to prove that you have excellent risk management skills, not good risk management, not that you're necessarily a good trader, because there are great traders that have horrible risk management, and there are decent traders who have excellent risk management, and the decent traders that have excellent risk management are the ones who are going to be successful trading, whether you're trading a real account with real cash or working on a prop, which they have different names for them, but evaluation is what Apex uses. Combine is what Top Step uses. This right here, the trailing threshold, is your risk manager. And there's no, oh, I can make it up. If you break that, if you got to 103,000 and then back to 100,000, account is blown, because it's not actually $100,000. It's not. Even when they fund you, it will not be for that amount. That's going to be more like about a $5,000 account. And what they want to do is have you prove to them that you're not going to take the equivalent of $5,000 and lose more than $3,000 of their money. So OPM, other people's money, is great, but they will manage you. So daily drawdown, you could lose all of it in one day. So it's not like, and there's in the futures, I've done 2 different futures sessions for New Traders Bootcamp. Number 4 is kind of the intro to futures, like when I first started talking about it, and that was last fall. I got my Top Step in March. Elite was, I feel like it was May, maybe middle of May. I don't know. Have to go back and look at dates. And then I actually just started with Apex when they opened up to Mac. The different companies have different rules for how much you can lose in a day, how much you can lose forever. I do think now that Apex allows for Mac, and I'm all Mac, I have 2 MacBooks, an iMac, 3 cell phones, an iPad, like I'm literally a walking Apple billboard. I couldn't trade on Apex until I think March was when they started. I didn't even realize it. So they are the easiest to pass of all of the combines that I've seen, although Elite's pretty close. It's just more expensive because there is only one step. You only have to get $6,000 profit without losing more than $3,000 from the high on the account. as long as you keep track of where the high on the account is. So the weakest part of Apex, A, is their website. It's like 1995 website. This is the prettiest part of the whole thing. Once you go in and start managing accounts, it is definitely complicated. So if you have gone through the process and are struggling with something, their customer service is super slow. There's quite a few of us trading Apex accounts now that can help you with that if you send a DM. Like a lot of the analysts and mods and quite a few people aside from that. So we can definitely help you on the ground with getting started, because the customer service is horrible at Apex, and there's no tolerance for any crap. There's no tolerance for, I didn't understand. The answer is, well, I guess you can buy a new account. So if you mess it up, it's on you. Now, the nice thing is you didn't put 10 grand of your own money in there, then mess it up, and now it's at zero. You're purchasing the opportunity to show them that you can manage your risk well without drawing down more than $3,000. My suggestion, if you're trading Apex, because their tech is not as good, is that you keep a little pen and paper and you jot down the highest number you see on your account. Like, you need to be in front of it, because it doesn't tell you anywhere. And I know their rhythmic integration, they have some other integrations that are Windows based, that if you're using that, if you're not using Mac, and I wish I could talk about it, but I literally don't own a single Windows product except for at the gym on one of the computers, and all that does is run music and a timer. So you have to keep track of that trailing. There is zero excuses, zero. Once you hit it, it's done and you can start over, which means you buy a new 100K, 150K. I've gone through everything. I know quite a few people have told me they love the 50K because they like the idea that it's a $2,500 trailing drawdown and you only have to make 3 grand instead of 6 grand. For me, this range, the $5,000 trailing threshold, seems to be the easiest to manage after trying some different combinations of contracts and some, different trailing drawdowns. So number 4 New Traders Bootcamp is the intro with brackets to futures using Tradovate, which is the Mac version that you can use on Apex, the Elite Funded Trader, and on Top Step. The 5th one is more of how I set up my screens, how I'm looking at it. So I always have NQ and ES up, regardless of which product I'm trading, because it's nice to see the two of them, because they're so correlated, with the exception of the financials affecting ES, that the levels are both relevant. All my charting is done on TradingView, and there's extensive videos on my charting. I am a volume-based trader. So I don't use fibs. I literally look at volume profile and levels in the last 2 days. Volume, because volume is what matters. And I don't do any of that inside my charting on Tradovate. I only keep the 5 on the 5 minute. I keep a 10 MA and a 200 MA up, and that's it. Nothing else. So that's my basic chart with NQ and ES. So if you want to see those setups, and actually walks through, I actually took a completely bare setup that they default you to, which I can't remember the name of it, but when you first open a Tradovate account, it has their default, and how to change out some of the indicators, how to adjust the screens so that, it's a little less confusing, because when it first opens up, you're like, wow, okay, now this is another language entirely, even if you have been trading for a while. So if you're interested in more of the nuts and bolts of what that looks like for me, then that's definitely 4 and 5 New Trader Bootcamp. Today is really just geared towards what we're doing with funded accounts. So I had to convince myself, I had to decide, because I have 4 of the Elite Funded that are 250s. The difference between the trailing threshold, 6,500 and 5,000, I only get $1,500 more in trailing, and I have to make 6 grand more to qualify. That doesn't seem equitable. It's not quite balanced out, right? But I think there's a lot of people who love the idea of a 250,000 account, because they feel like, oh my gosh, I'm controlling $300,000. You're not. This is the equivalent of about 12,000. This is the equivalent of about 10, and that's really probably about $7,500 to $8,000. I round it up to 10 grand as long as you're not oversizing. But it's really, really important as we choose these different accounts that you are not back to what they're saying that account is worth. It will destroy you and it'll be over. So the very first thing you do, I don't trade, never have traded 17 full size anything on a prop account ever. They allow you that so that you blow up your account and can do resets, which, if you can get a special on resets. I think there was a period that, and this was maybe a month ago, that it was a 90% off discount and then 80% off resets. So the resets were inexpensive. I mean, it was like, or no, it was 80%. It wasn't resets. 80% off following months and then half price, like $50 resets or something like that. You have to remember their business model is built on you getting excited about this 17 contracts or this 14 contracts so that you oversize again and again and again and continue to pay the money either to reset the account or once it's in the PA status, which is the first pass, to have to just buy a new account and requalify. And that's the biggest mistake that I see people do all the time. I had no idea what a funded account was when I first started. And so I think my first reset at Top Step was like 12 hours in because I had no idea I didn't understand what they were doing. Top Step allows for one free reset. So if you message the customer service, they have phone customer service that is phenomenal. They have, you can literally call their trade desk and get somebody on the phone pretty much 7 a.m. to like 6 p.m. my time, so Mountain, so 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, actually really till about 6 most of the time somebody will answer. So they are more expensive on a lot of these and harder to pass, but their customer service is phenomenal. So that kind of is independent for you. Like if you want somebody to be able to get on the phone, you'll have an account rep at Top Step that will literally, like, you can actually get hold of them. And if they're gone, they're off for the day, somebody else will be there. They'll be able to pull up your account and answer questions. It is harder to pass Top Step because it is 2 steps, hence their name. So if I'm trading a 150K account, and it's $375 to get started with them, I get up to 15 contracts, so 2 less technically than what Apex allows. And remember, we're not trading that. We're trading what the drawdown is. The drawdown is $3,000. You can't lose more than 3. So if you started with 150K, you hit 147K, you have to reset. The max trailing drawdown is 4,500 on Top Step. That means if we get to 154.5 on value, and then you lose 500 a day, right? You have a streak of like a week of problems. The total that you can get back to is the 150K, but you've got to still pay attention to that 3,000. So there's some nuanced differences between them. I do not think that this particular, and I started with this again because it was the only one that offered Mac products for Tradovate. I think Top Step is the hardest to pass because you have this first one right here, and then they call it the consistency step. So you make $9,000 in profit, and you can take however long you want. It could take you 6 months, a year, whatever. You just keep paying the monthly fee, and they do run some sales. They're not anything like Apex sales, but they do run some sales. When you pass $9,000 worth of profit, not breaking the $3,000 and the trailing, your next step is a consistency. It resets to 0 and you have to earn another $9,000, trading no more than 3 contracts. Now, I personally think you should not be trading more than 1 ES contract on a 150K account. And preferably you're using the scaling method to be able to build positions using 10 micros or 9 micros. So a little smaller position on anything that's 150K. But if you're somebody who's like, oh, I know how to, I'm just going to slam all 15 contracts in there, or all 17 if you're trading Apex, that's where they get you, is because the second round, the second step for Top Step is that you have to show up to a certain profit dollar amount. You can't trade more than 3 contracts. And so people just reset, and it gets a little bit crazy. Like I know people that have spent enough money that they should have just funded their own value or their own account with a Tradovate account or whatever futures platform you like, and just traded that money well, as opposed to, 10 resets in a day. And they'll actually like reach out to you at Top Step and be like, so slow down, trader. I've seen the emails where it's like somebody resetting like crazy, and they don't want that, but they make money every time you're blowing up your account. So again, it's back to their business model, is that if you want to pay them to reset over and over again, it is less money to reset an account than it is to lose that real money. But if you keep doing it, you're not consistent. You're just trying to like bat for the fences and like just home run craziness on one trade. You'll be paying them a lot of money to hang out with them. And they have 2 different styles. So once you get through the second phase, you can either do an express funded, which means you're trading another practice account and you have a certain profit target goal, and they'll pay you out of it once you make above what the trailing is, but it's not real money. It's still practice. So they're very clear. They're very upfront about it. When we're trading Apex, this 150K account, as long as over 7 days, I have 7 days of trading. Once I make $9,000, not having more of a drawdown, so no more than $14,000 with a drawdown to 9, I can move into what's called a PA account. So PA, for me, I call it practice account because that's what PA means to me. I think they have another name for it. I try not to pay attention to it. You are not moving into a fully funded account once you pass the first $9,000. So a little less clear. They're going to put you for 90 days on a PA account, a paper account. They'll pay you up to the first $25,000. They have the right to move you to a fully funded account at any point. They typically do not, because most traders blow up their PA account before they ever make it to funded. And then you get to start over. So even though they don't have a second step at Apex, it's still a second step. And the caveat is they don't say, oh, you can trade no more than 3 contracts. What they say is we're looking for consistent traders. So let's say you're that person who catches those bigs, and you slam 17 contracts and you make your entire $9,000 in one day. And then the next month or 2 weeks until the next big move is, kind of brewing, because we've got a lot of consolidation happening right now, and you trade 1 micro or 3 micros, like small compared to your 17 that you made that $9,000 in, they will not pay you out. They will say, nope, it can't be more than, I believe it's 30% is their requirement of what you've made. They don't want to see you slamming 17 contracts and then gaming the system, which is what it is. And it's, smart from that perspective to get the trading days. I don't like the idea of minimum trading days, because people come in and just say, oh, that's fine, I already hit my profit target, I'm just going to like jump into a micro for a minute, I might lose $4 or $5, doesn't matter the direction, because now I have an executed trade for that day. So them requiring trading days is to not get people to trade micros. It's to, maybe you don't trade tomorrow. Maybe the price action, we're opening inside range, the previous day's range, we're opening inside balance, and you sit out, because they will disallow that day. If you've got a bunch of days on a PA account that are just trading micros, and that is not how you made your money, you will not get paid. They will pay you eventually once you prove consistency, but they don't want flash in the pan. They don't want somebody who just comes in, passes it, and they look at it a little bit in the actual, when you're doing your evaluation, they look at it a lot in your PA account, and they will not transition you to a fully funded account out of the PA until you show them that. So even though there's not technically a second step with Top Step, there really is. And the net out is really that they're looking for traders who they can depend on are managing their risk well. They're not oversizing. They're not there to just try to, like, oh, I had a $10,000 day. That's nice. and I'm just going to withdraw the money. Differences in pay. Elite, you don't make money for a long time. A long time. Their pay tier is crazy. It's like, I think it was like 2,500 the first 3 months or something like that off of the accounts. And if I'm trading their proverbial 250K account and I can trade up to, let's see what my max is. I literally don't pay attention. Yeah, 24 full size ES. No, that's fast track. Nope, that is. Okay. So this one right here is the one that I have 4 of, and they've actually dropped their price. This is good. I'm actually happy about that. Let me make sure I'm on the right one. I haven't looked at their Diamond Hands is a different one. 2 or 20 profit. And these guys have a straight trailing drawdown all the time too. I think it makes you a better trader to have to start watching that trailing drawdown because it's going to happen regardless. But this one right here is what I have. I've got 4 of these. So it takes forever for you to eventually take your money out. And their goal is that you're eventually going to blow the account and you're going to just have to restart with them. That is their goal. And in the meantime, when they find traders who are consistently profitable and managing their risk well, they're perfectly happy to share the split. Their commission split's 80%. Top Step is 90%. And I think it's after the first 12.5. Like I said, I passed it more than a year ago, so I'm not 100% sure what it is now, but I feel like it's 12.5. Apex is the first 25 grand, and after that it's a 90% split. So there's some different things. So Apex, you have to have a minimum of 10 trading days. Once you get to your PA account, you have windows of time to be able to apply for your payout, and you can get paid out twice a month. So I don't depend on these accounts for my income. It's just nice to be able to request the payout and get them totally fine. I actually think I'm set to have my first payout from the Apex stuff that I passed last month. I have to look at my dates. Actually, I might have it. I think I'm set to get my first draw. So I don't have personal experience with being paid by them. However, I know a ton of people that make money all day long and are paid out regularly. So there's my concern when I first started these is that they were actually scams and that they were going to get you to do it, never actually pay you out. Elite is really slow, really, really slow. And it's like pulling teeth. They will eventually pay you. Top Step will pay you the next day or the same day if you get it in early enough every day, as long as you don't blow your account by withdrawing too much money. So while Top Step is the most expensive of them and the hardest to pass the evaluation, if you're a good trader and you can manage the risk and not withdraw too much money, that's where the benefit is. You can withdraw every single day. Apex twice a month, Elite 1 time a month. And there's a series of, it's a long time. It's like 6 months. I think it was really effectively 7 months from the time I started to the time I actually could like take my actual pay out of those accounts. And it was painfully slow. So if you're looking for the fastest way to make money, it's probably Apex, because by the time you get to your PA, which could be in 7 trading days, and it takes a little while for them to set it up. So let's say 8 trading days. Once you get past, because you've got to sign their paperwork, you're still going to have your 10 trading days and then your submission dates. So there are some, it's not fast money. It's not easy money. However, if you have, the term I use is have had your teeth kicked in enough times trading your own money, and you're like, all right, I've learned the lessons, but now I'm kind of short on funds because I've lost too much learning those lessons, which is, I think, part of the trader experience. I hope that what we do as far as psychology and what we do as far as, trying to keep people focused on the risk management and not blowing accounts, not full porting, that kind of thing. I hope that's helped people not blow as many accounts. That's the whole reason I do it, is because I lost so much money. It's ridiculous. And the psychology channel Inside Bull Trades goes into all the things I wished I would have learned. And there's probably 2 months worth of content if you're paying attention to it about 10 hours a week. Full time, it's probably 2 weeks worth of content. It's a lot. So start on that this weekend. If you have not been exposed to Trading in the Zone, there's an audiobook there on YouTube that allows you to start listening to it. It's 8 hours long. The deal with the funded account is trading other people's money. They become your risk manager. They become who says, and you're done. And that's you hitting your trailing stop as opposed to losing your own money. So there's definitely a benefit to it. Don't get me wrong, but it could be a complete money pit if you're not super careful. And so my understanding is that CBlast is going to be only trading micros. The difference between a mini, like an ES, the full size contract on Tradovate is $500 equivalent of what you're risking, which is why I put my trailing drawdown as we've talked about quite a bit in the futures. So I do a $500 trailing drawdown on one ES mini. On an MES, so micro ES, it's $55. So what I really think we should be paying attention to is that your max contracts should be, while it says 17 ES, I really think on 150K it should be 17 micros. 170 is the same. A micro, 10 micros equals one mini. And again, this is if you're not used to trading futures, this is all super foreign, and the intro to futures will help you with it a bunch. But my heavy suggestion is that contract max number that they allow you, this 14 right here, I would do no more than 14 micros, period. And my preference would really be on 150K account that we don't do more than one ES or 10 micros. For the 100K, we don't do more than 6 micros, period. No ES, nothing. There is a way to set up your risk settings inside Tradovate that will actually lock you out from trading if you're one of those people that has an impulse control issue, aka I'm down, I'm just going to slam some more size on here and make it back up. And in my 5th New Traders Bootcamp goes into how to do that. But inside Tradovate, you can actually designate the product, so MES versus ES, and number of contracts. The hard part about that one is you can say I want no more than 10 ES or 10 MES, and you could trade 10 ES. If you are like, I'm not trading any ES, because I remember Cedar saying to me, one ES contract can blow this 100K account, and they can get out of hand. Futures can go crazy. The moves are significant. You want to lock yourself out of trading more than 10 MES and no access at all to ES, or you're going to find yourself resetting over and over and over again. I know a lot of people that have spent thousands and thousands of dollars, which is less than they lost on the real account, but resetting, restarting new things, got into their funded accounts, blew them after that because then they thought they were brilliant because they passed the combine or passed the evaluation. So the main thing I wanted to focus on today is the difference of just because they will allow 14 contracts does not mean you should be trading 14 contracts, period. 6 on 100K, 10 on 150. And we can just go proportionately. Just wipe this number of contracts out of your mind. So if we can go 10 on 150, we can go 3 micros on a 50K. If you don't set those risk parameters, from experience, from what I've watched people do over and over again, is all of a sudden, I didn't have brackets on. They allowed me to trade 10 contracts on a 50K with a $200 or $2,500 trailing drawdown. You can do that so fast with 10 contracts. It's crazy how fast. So at $50 a point that ES moves, it can happen really fast with 10. So you just have to really, really pay attention to that and make sure with Apex that you're tracking what your all-time high is. Top Step has inside Tradovate actually has your trailing drawdown. It will show you how far you are. So the bar goes from green, like your trailing drawdown is really good, all the way to red, and it tells you within the dollar. Like so you know. A little frustrating. I think eventually Apex will do it, but if you're trading that account, you should be paying attention to that anyway, personally. Right? You have to think of it as real money. Don't think about it as, oh, I get this free money that I can trade, because it's not free if you continue to have to reset your account over and over again. it will be good lessons, but we don't want to have too many lessons, I guess is the best way. Okay, so overview. Let's see if there's anything else here. Oh, interesting thing about Apex is, oh, hold on just a sec. Interesting thing about Apex is that, now I lost my train of thought. Of course, somebody asked me a question and I'm confused. Okay, I have to go back. Trailing drawdown. Hold on. Back to the notes. Well, now it's gone. Okay, that was not good. Off of my list. I'm sure it will come back. Okay. Of all of them that I would suggest, and I'm not affiliated with anybody, it is Apex because of the flexibility. Oh, now I remember what it is. Okay. Top step, $135 a month. Once you pass your combine, once you pass step 1 and step 2, consistency is your step 2, you can either go into an elite funded account, which is another PA account, or you can convert straight over into a fully funded account where you're actually trading their money. They're going to charge you $135 a month to maintain the account, whether it's 150K or 50K. They just now started, as far as I'm tracking, allowing you to have more than one. So if you had 4 150K accounts, you're paying 135 times 4 monthly. Apex, which is why I really like them, is you can either pay $100 a month for whatever size account you have, all the way up to the 300. It's their monthly fee. Or you can pay $280 plus tax for a lifetime license to continue trading for them. So it's like $303, I think, with tax, and they will not continue to bill you monthly. So because I've been trading funded accounts for a while now, and I know that I'm going to be consistent because I'm not going to oversize and, not going to go crazy, I do the lifetime on Apex. So it's $300 to set up the account once you get through your 7 days of your minimum trading days required. And you're essentially prepaying 3 months. And they did that because most traders are going to blow up as soon as they get into that. They're going to pay the $300, blow up their account within the first week, and then go back to having to purchase a brand new combine or brand new evaluation. If you're smart about it, you never have to pay a monthly fee again with Apex if you don't continue to blow up accounts. So that's why I think it's more important trading smaller amounts than what they're asking you to do, because as you're doing your evaluation, you're actually learning what the habits are for you to be able to maintain the PA account, and they can switch that PA. Like in 5-6 days, trying to think how long it was, I'd made $9,000 on my ones from April. And they say that they're not going to convert any account. It's 90 days to convert it to a real funded account where you're actually trading their real money. But when you have somebody like me who now it's sitting at 17,000 on each account, they're like, this is a practice account. We're gonna have to pay her this out because she's obviously not blowing accounts. They probably will convert me sooner, where I'm actually, because I've proven that I can pass the fund, I can pass the evaluation, I can in the PA be consistent. I'm now not super like all over the place as far as, I'm trading 15 ES and then 1 micro and then back and forth. I trade what I trade. I know what my stops are. I let the stops trigger if they have to. The trailing is beautiful because it will, if the position pops and then goes against you, it saves you some of that. But they're not going to convert you into a fully funded account. They can even wait longer than 90 days. The typical would be 90, because most people are going to blow that account up after 90. So remember, I just told you it's $300 with tax to pay for the entire lifetime. That's the 3 months that you are in a PA account. So basically you're prepaying 3 months, and hopefully you don't blow it up, right? I say hopefully for you, they say, oh, they blow it up, I made an extra $300 and now they have to, there's no reset. Once you get to a PA, you get to start a new combine. Now they'll usually send you some kind of discount or whatever, but you have to remember that it is back to, this is a business for them in two ways. One, if you're a phenomenal trader, they're going to keep 10% of your profits. And let's say you're making 50 grand a month. It costs them nothing other than some basic account fees, because you're getting charged the fees. They're getting charged from the exchange, or from your contract fees. So that's being passed on to you, and it's actually more expensive than it would be if you just went to go do like I do on my personal futures account, I have a paid in full, like I do the yearly, it's $2,400 on Tradovate to pay no commissions at all. I just pay the exchange fees, and that saves me thousands of dollars a month. You can't do that with a combine or with the funded accounts. You just pay what the exchange fees are and pay what the commissions are out of your profits. So their business is twofold. One is that you pay them to have the opportunity to prove what you can make for them. And then you pay a monthly fee. If you choose that $100 a month, you can't change it later. So you can't pass your evaluation, select the $100 a month, and then decide to change it. It's a make the decision now and you don't get to switch it. So if you get through to your PA and they say, which one do you want to buy? If you're not going to be oversizing and you have proven to yourself that you can keep that account, it's $300 for the rest of your life. One time. Or it's $100 a month, and hopefully you keep making enough money that doesn't matter at all, because you're trading the account well, but you can't go back and change it. Top Step doesn't offer anything like that. Elite does not offer anything like that. And like I said, I'm not familiar with the other ones, so I can't really speak to them, but I don't think any of them have a lifetime. And I think that's one of the best deals you could possibly do if you're not going to just go and blow the account. Okay, I've got some questions in DMs now, so let's go. This one is not in relation to the funded, but I'm going to go ahead and answer it because I think there's enough people that are really looking at futures and what I trade QQQ and SPY probably has some relevance. So it says when you trade QQQ and SPY options, if you're 30 or 50% profitable, sometimes you'll tell us we can exit, but you kept the trade on because you think there's more room to move up. Just wondering, will you put a physical stop loss in a little bit above break even to control risk? So I have been really, really trying to give safe exits. So if we've got a pop, you'll hear me say, you'll see me post. If you're in a smaller account, particularly if you're oversized or one contract, here's the safe exit. This percent or range or dollar amount, but I am still in. So what I'm trying to do is not have people who are oversizing positions keep holding because I'm holding in a 5% max position on an options account. But the safe exit is for specifically those who, if you're happy with the profits, especially oversized, you don't want to be sitting and holding to give it more room. I'm sitting at a 5% max position size, so I'm going to give it a little bit more space than somebody that maybe, hopefully not, but maybe put in 10, 12, 15, or 20% of their port. And again, back to, I really hope that people are not doing it. However, they are over and over again. And you sell into any strength you have when you're in a smaller account, single contract, oversized, combination of the three, or all the above. I will almost never let something that is in profit go negative. Now, if it went 10% in profit, I'm still going to allow it some space to see kind of what we're doing, but it's not based off, I don't trade my P&L. I trade from the charts, period. And sometimes that's a 5% drawdown, and sometimes it's a 70% drawdown. If the chart has not been violated, if the TA has not been violated, I'm looking at that, which is why I don't oversize, which is why I don't think people should, because then it's emotion behind the P&L, which is not trading. Your emotion is driving you. So just wanted to catch that quickly. Next one was Apex funded account. Once you qualify, what is the max drawdown on a 100K account? And is the trader responsible for the loss? Does the account get closed? Because I've never traded a 100K account for Apex. I'm going to translate, and they'll have that in their Q&A. I'm sure it's somewhere. But the 150K that I have is at 5,100 over your trailing drawdown stops. So doing my 150K, when I get to the PA account, my trailing threshold, I'm going to get to 155. That's my trailing drawdown plus $100. It will stop right there. So my guess is the 100K, if we follow the same consistency, is once you get to 103,000 plus 100, so 103.1, the trailing drawdown stops. So how we trade the combine or the evaluation, there's always the trailing threshold. You could take this thing to $190,000. It's still going to have a trailing of $5,000 back. So you make it to 190. Your goal was to do 159. You had some crazy times. If you lose $5,000, regardless of what the high is on the account, you lose it and get to start over. Once you're on the PA, the practice, still paper money. I think it's called a performance account, but I think of it as a practice account still, because it is. The threshold is what you're trading, which is why once I get over my threshold solidly, I will trade more contracts than the one that I talked about earlier instead of 17. So one on the 150K. Once I'm over my trailing, then I will trade between 1 and 3 contracts on a PA account because my trailing is gone. It's fixed. It's not going to continue to rise. Gives me a little bit more flexibility, as opposed to when you're in your evaluation, doesn't matter the height, doesn't matter where it goes, you blown the account. One other nuance, I'm trying to think here. Top step, when you get, you've got your 2 steps that you go through. So step 1 to make 9,000, step 2 to make 9,000, no more than 3 contracts until you make the first 3. And then I can't remember the tiers, but it tiers up into your max contracts. If you go from the second step into an express funded and you blow up the account, you can pay a reset fee and move back into the second step instead of paying for a new account entirely. So there's, even though you have to pass it twice, there's some benefit there because it takes you to a practice account. That's the express funded is practice. It's not real funded money, but they allow you to reset it and try again without having to do both steps. In Apex, you get to the PA, you break it, there's no resets, you're done, start over. I think Apex probably teaches you to be a better trader, net out, in how they manage their business and how there's it's done. You don't get to reset if you messed up your PA account or express account in the case of the top step. Tough love. Okay, let's see. Well, I just had one that I was looking at and I think it's gone. That's kind of weird. Gotta love the messages just say hello. Like, what do you want? Okay, so do you guys have any questions? I'm going to go into the group now out of the DMs. I'm going to go check out the public trading chat. And that would be where I would be looking for tags, because for the people accessing YouTube streaming that are not premium members yet, they won't have access to Post and Market Talk. So I'm going to check that one first. Okay. Nothing in there. Let's go to... And I think there is just going to be a ton of questions kind of as we move into this because it is so different. But the funded accounts are not a scam at all unless you oversize, and then you're just going to get wrecked. Like, it's just a mess. All right, into market talk. I don't have any questions after that as far as that goes. So I'd really planned to talk for maybe 45 or 50 minutes, and we're coming up on that right now, just as far as what my experiences were with the funded programs. And I had somebody ask me, like, why do you have that many accounts? Why wouldn't you just go with a larger account? And it goes back to that trailing drawdown and what the max profit targets are for me more than anything. And it spreads risk out. I do not trade every single account that I have across the board. I don't use a copy trader. I hand trade everything. Because if you blow up one account, then you blow them all up, and now you get to start over on everything. And they're in tandem most of the time with my personal account. So I trade that pretty much all the time, and then add in the funded accounts, because what it did was it allowed me to take half of what my account for my personal in Tradovate, I got to cut it in half based on what I could trade risk-wise using the funded accounts. So it frees up that money to be able to redeploy elsewhere. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Well, I'm going to hang out for just a little bit longer. I'm going to peek back into the Apex. Oh, I wanted to talk about there was a definite issue with Rhythmic on, and it wasn't just with Apex, it was Rhythmic, anybody who's trading on a prop firm on Friday. And we talked about it a little bit in market chat, because there was somebody who's like, well, I was just about to pass and now I'm down a couple of grand. When you've got an issue with a broker like that, there's a couple things you absolutely have to pay attention to. If you're not able to log in, you need to be screen capturing that like crazy. Whatever error message you get, screen capture. If you're clicking, screen record. Take your cell phone out, video record it, something. Give them some kind of proof, because if it is a broker issue, that it was not you not trading well, it was something that their tech was down, often, I don't want to say all the time, but often they will delete the day. So if you're almost passing and you're down 2K because of something that was a tech issue on their end, not a choice that you made, but like your brackets were in place, you were nowhere near the bracket, you were trying to exit, it didn't work, they will just delete that lost day and be done. It was interesting when I was reading this before we got started today, they actually said there was a data center that went down, affecting all prop firms. If you made money during the outage, you are lucky and you will get to keep the profit. So they will allow you to choose to delete the day or keep the profit, which is a beautiful thing, because most of the time if there's a tech issue, they'll delete it whether it was profit or loss across the board. And that's what I've seen actually with Top Step. But you have to document it. And I did have an issue with Tradovate. I guess I've had two. I was thinking I posted the on Friday that I've had one issue. I had an issue with it last week sometime and couldn't get logged in anywhere except for I finally got onto my cell phone. But it was about, had to have been like June of last year. It was fully down, and I had one of my days deleted entirely because it was definitely a tech issue, but I documented everything. So just make sure if you're having an issue, don't be like keyboard warrior on their site, because you're probably not the only one. Document it and then send your tech message in, right? Your support for request for assistance. Because if you're just DMing them saying there's a problem with things, they're like, well, do you have a picture? No, I just right away got on with customer service. And if you're the only person having that error, they're going to be like, well, I guess if that happens again, maybe get me a picture of it. So just a little heads up as far as that goes. Anything else with Apex? I go. Oh, the reason I didn't trade Apex originally was because they wanted you to basically run Windows Parallel on your Mac, which is running two systems on your computer, which I'm not a fan of. Hate Windows, or I'd own a lot of Windows computers instead of a lot of Mac computers. So Rhythmic on a Mac, which I am not a fan of Rhythmic at all. The number of times that I've had friends be like, oh, Rhythmic's down again is significant compared to how much Tradovate has a glitch here and there. Significant. So if you haven't already started it, my heavy recommendation is that the interface on Tradovate is phenomenal. It'll take you a little bit of time, which is why I have those other two videos to get it set up, but it is much more consistent than Rhythmic, hands down. Even though I've not traded Rhythmic, like I said, I have quite a few friends who are futures traders, and Rhythmic is a disaster. I think that was my exact term on Friday. Once you choose Rhythmic on a combine or on a evaluation on Apex, you cannot change it over. In fact, my very first one I did, because their website is so bad, I accidentally chose a Rhythmic and just canceled the account. It was one of those 90% offers, and I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to chuck that $32 because I chose Rhythmic, and I thought I was going to have the chance after. I thought it was you take the 150K account and then you choose, but you actually have to sign up under Rhythmic or under Tradovate, or you don't get the right one. So let's see here. Home, about, testimonials, sign up. So if I click, when I click the buy on the 150, notice it defaulted up here to Rhythmic. It doesn't default to Tradovate. Rhythmic is their core plan. I just saw that, thought I was choosing the membership type of 150K, and I didn't read this right here. So it cost me $32 of, oh crap, I guess I'll cancel that one. You have to click over to Tradovate and then the account size that you're after. And now confirm Tradovate coupon code or agree not to use one, but they have to be selected from here. You don't get to choose after. And I was actually kind of surprised that I made that mistake, but it is what it was because their website's so bad. Of all the frustrations that I've had, most of the time is because I got excited and was like, oh, okay, I could just go trade now, and didn't read what was inside their FAQ or the stuff that was already created online. Like I said, Apex is much worse. It's literally just kind of tacked together. Even though they're a legitimate company, they definitely need a good tech guy. And I think they don't care, because if you're not going to slow down and read it, they'll just make more money off of you. The education on Top Step is phenomenal. So not a bad thing, even if you're not trading a Top Step account, to kind of dig into what's in there. There's some really, really great content as far as what Top Step provides that is ongoing, that definitely should not be discounted. And that is all of my notes, everything I have. Okay, checking one more time for comments, questions. All right, inside live trading. And guys, just a heads up, I almost never come in the live trading chat because it's hidden and the majority of members don't see it. And only between 5 and 10% of our members actually utilize voice chat. So I try to be where they are, the majority. So happy that I'm seeing tags in here. I'm going to go ahead and answer them. So BlockWiz asked the question of, do we trade directly on Tradovate or the Apex UI? Definitely directly in Tradovate. And that question brings to mind, you can have an integration with Tradovate onto TradingView. And I know people really love the idea of having all of their TA inside TradingView where they can execute directly off the chart. However, you can't set up brackets to use with TradingView, because I was like, oh, this is going to be magic. And I got in there and I was like, if I can't have a bracket, I am not touching a buy button or a sell button. You can hand add them, but man, if it goes against you, things can go wrong in a matter of seconds. And so I have my execution straight on Tradovate, and that's in number 4, number 5, New Traders Bootcamp. Lifetime option, this was BlockWiz also. The lifetime option is after you pass your evaluation, they'll send you a series of emails They're not great emails. They say make sure you're signed in. So you have to like log in your browser, signed into Apex, and then click here to pay it. If I'm passing multiples at a time, which I've done 2 at a time in the groupings, then you have to like click the right link from the right email. So you have to be paying attention to details. So the first thing you do once you pass, they'll go, congratulations, you passed. It's usually at like 8 or 9 p.m. my time, so probably midnight or close to that, East Coast. And you're going to pay first. You're going to set it up, and that's where you'll select. There's 2 choices, either the 280 plus tax or the $100. I think it's 105 a month now. When I passed my first ones, it was 100, and I was like, I could prepay 3 months and never pay again. This is good times. But it's not until you pass the evaluation. And then they say that they're going to send you a Panda doc, which is where you put in whether if you're trading from a business account, the EIN on the business account, or if you're trading sole proprietor, they're going to pay you as an independent contractor regardless. Then you'd put your social security number in there. Except I actually have never gotten an email from Panda doc, so I'm not sure exactly. The link is actually inside that original email where you pay your subscription fees as well. So you might as well not wait for the next email and just click the links that are in there and read the details. And then my accounts have been live within like 30 minutes or less. In fact, the 2 most recent ones, they were a little bit slower. They were about 45 or 50 minutes. The first ones were live in 4 minutes. It was so fast. I was like, already? I get this already? That's pretty cool. Which is not a bad thing. Let's see, questions. Here's the video for the Tradovate account dashboard and how to track your drawdown. Exactly. It's just not shown with the Apex. So in Top Step, that's the difference between the two. You can find it, but it's not visible like on your trading heads up. So your display doesn't have it where Top Step does. Like it's live, you can see right where you are, what your high point was, and you know how far you are below that trailing. And unfortunately, Apex has not integrated that yet. The other thing is that I just now remembered is Apex does not have a paper trading account alongside their evaluation account, and TopStep does. And there is something to be said for, wow, I just made a bunch of money. I'm going to go on my paper and go trade that a little bit because I might be feeling a little spunky and want to keep trading and probably shouldn't. So that being said, switch to micros if you make some good money. Don't just be like, oh, I'm brilliant, I'm going to keep going because I made some money. Next question is, this is my first week with bull trades. What resources should I spend most of my time? So you definitely want to head into the Bull Trades University section. So there is my new traders boot camps that are in there. And I think this is number 9. It might be number 10. And they're typically 2-hour videos. This one will be a little bit shorter because it is just focused on the actual combine and the challenge accounts. But new traders bootcamp, the psychology channel, market resource channel, and then there is a literal ton of books in the other channels that I've uploaded. So the ones that are most important, as far as my opinion, is the ones that have stars next to them, and they're separated out by channels. I tried to get them categorized, and there's like 160 books. It's a bunch, and I put those up last summer when I first came on full-time staff with Bull Trades, and was like, you know, this could save you thousands of dollars. And they are PDFs. Some of them are scanned, but it can give you access with just, you know, your regular membership to be able to read a lot of books that you may never read again. Maybe you can find them at the library, but it lets you find that content really easily. So Mike Olson says you can pay $150 one-time fee to use a trade copier. So the problem that I have with a trade copier, and I, because I've heard so much about it, I don't use them. I would rather hand trade them, is that if, let's say you're on your TopStep account and you've got your trade copier and you log into paper instead of your live trade, and I guess I should back up a little bit and be like, they're all connected. If you are paper trading and you've got your trade copier on, if you didn't toggle it off, you will be executing live trades on your other accounts. It will send them with the exact same directive. And I know quite a few people that have blown accounts multiple times not checking that. So you got to be really careful. The next one is that the idea behind a trade copier is that if you, let's say you've got 10 Apex accounts, as opposed to trading, let's say 10 ES contracts on one account, it would be much safer to trade one ES contract on 10 accounts to spread that out, or 5 MES contracts. But then your exposure is exactly the same on every single contract. And if you blow one account, you're blowing all of the accounts at the same time. And I think that's a very individual answer. I would rather work on a couple of accounts, and because I've got my personal account and then the one top step and then the 4 and then the 4, I can have them set up on multiple devices. I can be logged into Tradovate for my Apex accounts on 2 different cell phones and very easily just use the drop down for executions on them and have market orders ready or have limit order ready, whatever. So I'm trading off of multiple devices, but I then can choose if I'm not going to trade an account, because I'm like, man, that one did good today. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to go work on another one. So you want to think about it as being able to nurture separate accounts. And that is something that is what I think super individual. I don't think the trade copier is good for most people that I've ever had as coaching clients. I see them like way overdo it, and it's like out of sight, out of mind. I don't know. That's something you definitely, the 150 is probably worth spending it to just play with it and find out if it's something that does work for you. Just make sure you've got that copier turned off before there's any paper trading happening. And NinjaTrader does have a sim account, but I can't use NinjaTrader because I'm all Mac. That's where there's the difference between Apex and TopStep. But yeah, I'm all Mac and I'm not willing to put Windows Parallel. Like, I'd be more likely to just buy a Windows computer, except then it's like 2 different languages, right? How things are used gets a little confusing between 2 different interfaces. And Mike says he agrees with that. I don't trade all 9 at once. I split them up into groups. Once profit target is hit for the day, move on to the next batch of accounts. Exactly. So don't think about it as I have all of these accounts to trade them all at the same time. I just don't see that as something that I think most people can do. I do trade mine in tandem pretty often, but they are hand traded because then I can just choose. I'm not having to change anything in my trade copier, but that is something to be introspective about yourself and decide. It does take a little bit more brain power to be managing multiple accounts because you have to be keeping track of all those drawdowns and all of that fun stuff. But really, I think most people should have one account that they focus on and grow. And then if they want to start another one, they're passing the evaluation while they're trading the real account or the funded account, hopefully once you get through the PA. And Mikey says once he hits targets on all accounts, then only trade one account. Exactly. And it's small. You're in there still, as long as you're seeing the market well, continuing to trade, but not having it be, I hit my profit targets, or I hit what, is that a daily goal per account? I mean, if you're trading 10 accounts and you make $100, which is pretty easy on an ES contract, you just made 1,000 between 10 accounts. You just have to have managed it. So it's definitely, I think trading the multiple accounts is not a bad thing at all. You have to decide if you're going to use a trade copier. And I promise the first time you blow up 10 accounts at once because of a trade copier, you will probably stop doing that. I know just enough people that have done that I'm like, nope, no thanks. Okay, I think I have caught all of my questions. So we've got an hour and 10 minutes as far as recording goes. I'm going to go ahead and post this on the YouTube channel, and I'll get it up in the New Traders Bootcamp link, and I'm going to leave it public because I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure that it's live streaming on YouTube right now. I'm a little confused by it. Like I said, little tech confusion right here. Worked great for months, and now it's being silly. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me this Saturday afternoon. It is windy and dusty, and I'm actually impressed that I haven't sneezed because I sneezed more this morning than I've ever sneezed in my life. with all the dust and wind and crazy stuff blowing around. So appreciate your time, and we'll see you guys inside Discord this week.